Andrea Donovan of Andrea Donovan Senior Living Advisors. I'm a senior housing consultant, certified care manager, and certified guardian who assists seniors and their families with finding the right senior living options. Welcome to the first episode of Senior Living Moments, Words to the Wise. Lately, I've been getting a lot of telephone calls from new and prospective clients, and the first question that they normally ask me is, well, Andrea, how much are these senior living options going to cost? And when I tell them, they're very overwhelmed. So if you're in the process of looking for a senior loved one, you should be aware of what the costs are yourself. Now, the cost depends upon what level of care the senior actually needs. Let's start with the first lowest level of care, which is independent living. Independent living basically means that the senior can function on their own, but they need a little bit of help with their meal preparation and their housekeeping. That's what the true definition of independent living is. There are some organizations that stick very close to that definition, but then there are other communities who will give somebody a little bit more flexibility, meaning they might allow somebody to move into an independent living apartment with a part-time or a full-time caregiver if the person needs more help. Or a lot of communities are offering a la carte sorts of options, like, say, help with bathing and dressing in 15-minute increments for an additional cost. And those types of a la carte charges actually allow the person to save money so that they don't have to move to the next level of care, which is assisted living. When assisted living first came onto the senior living market, it normally meant that the person needed some standby assistance with their activities of daily living, meaning bathing, dressing, toileting, transferring, walking, and eating. Now, so much has changed in the industry that a lot of hands-on care is available. You can expect the cost to start around $5,000 or $6,000 for a studio in the Chicago metropolitan area. And then depending upon how much help the individual needs, there are going to be incremental costs for either standby assistance or hands-on assistance with activities of daily living. Those incremental costs start at about $400 a month and go up to about $2,300, depending upon how much care the individual needs. What used to be done at the intermediate level of care in nursing homes has now been absorbed into the assisted living level, so that I'm seeing a lot of the assisted living communities take on cases that are they're really not capable of handling. So what I'm saying is the cases are too complex for the assisted living level, and you really have to be very careful. Assisted living memory care is also another level of care that's available, and that's specialized care, assisted living for individuals who have memory issues. And there are actually different levels and kinds of memory care available, meaning that some people with memory issues can have their own apartment and function pretty much on their own. And they have the assistance of almost like a resident advisor that you would have in a college dorm. And then there are other communities who offer daytime types of care programming, which is very structured to keep the individuals busy during the day. And then there are also the locked units for the people who wander or roam. In the Chicago metropolitan area, you can actually expect to pay about $8,500 to $10,000 a month, and that cost is all inclusive with 3 meals a day. The highest level of care, which is skilled nursing, means that the individual is basically bed-bound or in a wheelchair, and they need hands-on assistance with all their activities of daily living, and that runs about $12,000 a month. That's for a semi-private room. So you're talking about a lot of money. And last but not least, in-home care through a licensed agency where the individual actually hires a private caregiver runs about $40 to $45 an hour. And that's a completely different story. I'll devote a whole nother episode to that. I've been in this business for 20 years and I've seen a lot of changes, and all of them are not necessarily for the good. That's why you should hire an expert like myself to help you make sure that you're selecting the best option for your loved one. I'm Andrea Donovan of Andrea Donovan Senior Living Advisors. Have a great day.